Have you ever had that strange, unsettling feeling, almost an intuitive whisper from the depths of your soul, that people are not always who they appear to be at first? You know that moment. You meet someone and the world seems to realign. The connection is electric, the promises are as grand as constellations, and the future of that relationship, be it a profound friendship, a passionate romance, or a game-changing business partnership, seems written in stone, destined for greatness. We become architects of hope, building magnificent castles of expectation on foundations we have barely inspected, foundations we assume are solid rock but are often just shifting sand. And then, as the silent, inexorable river of time flows on, as months bleed into years, the first hairline cracks appear. The sweet, affirming words begin to ring hollow, becoming echoes in an empty chamber. The actions, once so boldly promised, remain phantoms that never materialize in the real world. And the person we were so sure we knew, the one we might have bet our own happiness on, slowly dissolves and in their place stands a stranger. This painful, often heartbreaking, yet utterly inevitable revelation is the meticulous work of life's greatest and most impartial master, time. Time, that silent, relentless sculptor, possesses the extraordinary and sometimes cruel ability to wear away the most elaborate masks, to dissolve the most convincing facades, and to expose the raw, unvarnished essence of every individual. Time does not judge, it does not condemn, it doesn't take sides. It simply reveals. It is this profound journey of discovery, patience, loss, and ultimately wisdom that we will embark upon today. We will dive deep into the ancient teachings of Stoicism, a philosophy that equips us to observe with serenity, to accept reality as it is, not as we wish it to be, and to find our unshakable strength not in the flimsy expectations we place on others, but in the immutable solidity of our own well-cultivated character. I invite you now to close your eyes for a moment. Go back in your memory to a relationship that was transformed, for better or for worse, by the passage of time. Remember the intoxicating thrill of its beginning. Feel the warmth, the hope. Now, contrast that with what it became or how it ended. What truth did time unearth for you? Was it a lesson wrapped in agony or a quiet, beautiful surprise? Throughout our conversation today, we will explore how time functions as the ultimate, natural filter, meticulously separating the true gold from the glittering pyrite, the genuine life-sustaining relationships from the hollow, superficial connections. And most importantly, we will uncover how we can harness this profound wisdom to build a life of greater authenticity, to learn the art of emotional self-reliance, and to consciously curate a circle of people who truly resonate with the frequency of our soul. Are you ready to surrender to the wisdom of time and let it be your guide? If you are on a path seeking more clarity in your relationships, more emotional resilience in the face of life's certainties and uncertainties, and you wish to learn how to navigate the intricate labyrinth of human nature with greater wisdom, then this content was made for you. So, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because with every conversation we have here, we are not just learning, we are fortifying our inner citadel and learning to see the world and ourselves with a clearer, more profound vision. 1. The intoxicating illusion of the beginning, the theater of first impressions. We are all, to some degree, performers on the grand stage of life. This is never more true than in the opening act of any new relationship. When we first encounter someone who sparks our interest, a subconscious mechanism kicks in. We instinctively wish to present the most polished, admirable version of ourselves. We deploy our widest smiles, we share our most compelling anecdotes, we highlight our most virtuous qualities. We curate a persona, a highlights reel of our existence, a cinematic trailer designed to captivate and impress. And, of course, the person across from us is engaged in the very same performance. This is the delicate, unspoken dance of human connection. This initial period, which we can call the honeymoon phase of all relationships, is a potent and intoxicating elixir. It is a period defined by projection, where the vast, empty spaces of the unknown are hastily filled with the plaster of our own hopes, dreams, and desires. We see potential where there may be none. We hear promises and casual statements. We see an idealized reflection of who we want to be, mirrored back at us in the eyes of another. It's treacherously easy to fall in love with this image, with this possibility. The fundamental danger is that we are not falling for a person, but for a mirage, for a character in a play we've co-written in our minds. We are falling for a beautiful ghost, not the flesh and blood human being with all their hidden complexities, their unhealed wounds, their secret fears, and their quiet virtues. I recall a business partnership that began with the force of a supernova. We had the same vision, the same vocabulary for success, the same seemingly unshakable work ethic. Our brainstorming sessions were electric, lasting late into the night, fueled by coffee and mutual admiration. I was convinced I had found my professional soulmate. The promises of unwavering loyalty were as common as greetings. "We're in this together, through thick and thin. I've got your back no matter what." And I believed every word with every fiber of my being, because it was the narrative I desperately wanted to be true. It was the story of success and camaraderie I had been waiting for. But words, no matter how beautifully arranged or passionately delivered, are ultimately just vibrations in the air. They lack the weight, the substance, the unyielding gravity of consistent, observable action. The Stoic philosophy serves as a powerful antidote to this intoxication. The philosopher Epictetus famously taught that what truly disturbs us are not events themselves, but our judgments and opinions about them. Applying this, we can see that it's not people who ultimately disappoint us, but the colossal, unrealistic expectations we project onto them based on fleeting, superficial impressions. True wisdom does not lie in forming rapid, confident judgments. It lies in the disciplined practice of patient observation. We must consciously give time the space and the silence it needs to do its sacred work. Time is the universal solvent that gently but persistently dissolves the fresh, vibrant paint of the first impression, revealing the raw, textured, and often imperfect canvas that lies beneath. This initial phase is, therefore, a profound test of our own emotional intelligence and self-awareness. Can we manage the delicate balance of maintaining a healthy skepticism without descending into a bitter cynicism? Can we fully immerse ourselves in the joy and excitement of a new connection, while simultaneously resisting the urge to mentally construct an entire shared future based on a few chapters? Learning to appreciate the beginning of a relationship for what it truly is, an introduction, a prologue, a query, is the first and most critical step in fortifying ourselves against the inevitable pain of future disillusionment. It is the conscious understanding that the real story of that person, their true character, is a book that has yet to be read. And it can only be read page by page, chapter by chapter, through the slow, revealing, and inescapable passage of time. 2. Time as the great revealer, the unimpeachable evidence of consistency. If words are the promise, then actions are the proof. But even a single action can be misleading. It is the consistency of those actions over the vast expanse of time that stands as the only undeniable, unimpeachable truth of character. A single act of generosity might be a performance for an audience. A single moment of courage could be a fleeting rush of adrenaline. But consistency cannot be faked for long. It is the golden thread that weaves the true fabric of a person's being. It is the rhythm of their soul made visible. Time functions as the ultimate, impartial laboratory of human character. It subjects every one of us to a battery of tests, exposing us to an endless variety of scenarios, pressures, and temptations. Time is not interested in how people behave when the sun is shining and the path is smooth. It is far more interested in how they react when the storm rolls in, when the winds of fortune change, when the path becomes steep and treacherous. How does a person behave when they are under immense stress? Do they become cruel, or do they find a deeper well of compassion? How do they handle failure, both their own and, perhaps more tellingly, the failures of others? Do they offer a hand up or a condescending glance? And how do they react to your success? This is one of the most revealing tests of all. Do they celebrate with you, their eyes shining with genuine, unadulterated joy, as if your victory were their own? Or do they offer a polite, formulaic congratulations, while a subtle shadow of envy or resentment flits across their face? These are the quiet, nuanced, yet profoundly significant revelations that time offers us on a daily basis, if only we are willing to slow down, be present, and observe. Think of an ancient oak tree. When it is first planted, it is nothing but a fragile seedling. You cannot know from looking at it whether it will grow tall and strong, whether its fruit will be sweet, or whether its roots will run deep enough to anchor it against the fiercest storms. Only time, with its endless cycles of gentle sun and harsh frost, of nourishing rain and punishing drought, will reveal the true resilient nature of that tree. People are no different. A person's character is not defined by a single dramatic event, but by the quiet accumulation of their thousands of daily choices, their reflexive, unpremeditated reactions, their commitment to integrity in the small, unseen moments when they believe no one is watching. Through painful experience, I have learned to become a student of patterns. A person who gossips to you will, without fail, gossip about you. A person who consistently fails to honor small promises, arriving on time, returning a call, paying back a small loan, is signaling that they are unlikely to honor the large commitments that truly matter. A person who materializes only for the celebrations but becomes a ghost during the struggles is not a friend. They are an audience member, a spectator to your life, not a participant in it. Time does not need grand, cinematic betrayals to expose the truth. It whispers it to us in the mundane, repetitive details of everyday life. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote in his private journal, Meditations, to constantly remind himself of the nature of people. He coached himself not to be surprised by dishonesty, ingratitude, or betrayal. This did not turn him into a bitter cynic. It transformed him into a grounded realist. He understood that human nature is a complex tapestry of light and shadow, and that virtue is not a destination one arrives at, but a path one must choose to walk every single day. By accepting this fundamental truth, he liberated himself from the corrosive acid of disappointment. He learned to place his faith not in the shifting sands of people's words, but in the solid rock of what time and their consistent actions revealed to him. Therefore, the paramount lesson we must integrate is the cultivation of the profound patience of a wise observer. Do not be in a hurry to give away the sacred treasures of your heart, your trust, and your unwavering loyalty. Offer them incrementally as a person's actions, repeated over time, prove that they are a worthy custodian of such gifts. Learn to trust the slow, deliberate, methodical process of time. It is the fairest judge, the most accurate historian, and the most truthful revealer we will ever know. It moves at its own pace, for it knows an eternal secret, that in the end, the truth, like water, always finds its way to the surface. 3. The crucible, how adversity and success strip away the veneer. There is no crucible that tests the metal of human character more fiercely or more efficiently than adversity. Pressure, in its rawest form, has a unique and uncompromising way of squeezing the truth out of us. When life strikes a devastating blow, a sudden financial crisis, a terrifying health diagnosis, the humiliating loss of a job, or the soul-crushing agony of a broken heart, the social masks we wear in our daily lives become unbearably heavy, too cumbersome to maintain. It is in these moments of profound vulnerability, when we are stripped bare of our titles, our resources, and our pride, that we see with stark, undeniable clarity who is truly in our corner. Adversity operates as the great, unsentimental filter of our social lives. Abruptly, the sprawling, bustling city of friends that once populated our social media feeds begins to look like a ghost town. People who were once omnipresent, who filled your calendar and your text messages, begin to recede into the shadows. They offer vague, hollow excuses, or worse, a chilling and deafening silence. Perhaps they do not know how to confront your pain. Or perhaps, more uncomfortably, your struggle serves as a disturbing mirror, reflecting their own hidden fragilities and fears. And then, as you sit amidst the emotional rubble of your life, you notice something miraculous. You notice that a few people, often the ones you least expected, have remained. They have not vanished. They do not offer simplistic platitudes or magic solutions. Instead, they offer the simple, sacred gift of their presence. They listen without judgment. They offer a shoulder to cry on. They bring a warm meal. They simply sit with you in the dark, sharing the silence, letting you know that you are not alone. These, you realize with a certainty that shakes you to your core, are the real ones. Time, using the blunt instrument of crisis, has just revealed to you your most precious treasures. But adversity is only one side of the coin. Success, paradoxically, can be an even more potent and revealing test of character. There is an old saying, if you want to test a man's character, give him power. I would offer a corollary, if you want to test the nature of a friendship, share with them your greatest success. When you achieve something you've worked tirelessly for, something magnificent, observe the reactions of those around you with the keen eye of a hawk, who celebrates with you with a pure, unadulterated joy that seems to emanate from their very soul, as if your victory were a shared triumph, and who offers a polite, perfunctory congratulations, a hollow smile that doesn't quite reach their eyes, which betray a fleeting but unmistakable shadow of envy, comparison, or resentment. Your success can act as a powerful summoning spell, awakening the dormant demons of insecurity in others, the gnawing pain of comparison, the bitter feeling of being left behind. A true friend, a genuine partner, a soul-level connection, experiences your happiness as an extension of their own. Your light does not threaten to dim theirs. On the contrary, it inspires them to shine brighter. I have lived through both of these crucibles. During a period of devastating professional failure, I watched as friends of over a decade evaporated like mist in the morning sun, while a casual acquaintance stepped forward and became one of the most steadfast pillars of support in my life. And later, in a moment of unexpected and significant success, I received beautifully crafted but emotionally empty words of praise from people I considered my inner circle, while the most sincere, heartfelt, and tearful celebration came from someone I had long underestimated. In both instances, time masterfully used the extreme circumstances of life to tear down the scenery and show me the true backstage reality of my relationships. The lessons were etched in pain, but they were also profoundly liberating. The clarity that these experiences bestowed upon me was an invaluable, life-altering gift. This is precisely why the Stoics placed such a high value on the ability to face both fortune and misfortune with equanimity and grace. They understood that both are powerful teachers. Adversity teaches us about our own resilience and reveals the loyalty of others. Success teaches us about our own humility and reveals the genuineness of others. As we navigate the inevitable peaks and valleys of our lives, our focus should not be solely on the event itself, but on the wealth of information it reveals, about ourselves and about the people with whom we have chosen to walk this path. Time, using the raw, unrefined tools of life, is constantly handing us a more accurate, updated map of our social landscape. The only question is, are we paying attention to the signs? For the pain of disillusionment and the Stoic path to detachment. When time finally pulls back the curtain and reveals that someone is not the person we believe them to be, the first and most overwhelming emotional response is almost always a profound and searing pain. Disillusionment is a unique and complex form of grief. We are mourning not for the person as they truly are, but for the idealized version we created and held so dearly in our minds. We are grieving the loss of a beautiful story we told ourselves, the death of a future we so vividly imagined, the violation of a trust we so freely gave. It is a real, visceral pain, and it is absolutely crucial to grant yourself the permission and the space to feel it in its entirety. To deny this pain, or worse, to berate yourself with thoughts like, "I should have known," or "How could I have been so blind?" is both futile and profoundly cruel. No one enters a relationship with the expectation of being deceived or abandoned. We extend trust because trust is the fundamental currency of human connection. Without it, we are merely isolated islands. To have your trust betrayed is not a reflection of your poor judgment or naivety. It is a direct reflection of the other person's character. Your vulnerability was not a weakness, it was an act of immense courage. You dared to open your heart to the world. That is always an act to be honored, regardless of the outcome. Once the initial tidal wave of pain begins to recede, it often gives way to the hot, burning embers of anger and resentment. We want the other person to acknowledge the hurt they caused. We crave justice, an apology, some form of cosmic retribution. We can remain trapped for months, even years, in this toxic cycle of bitterness, endlessly replaying past conversations in our minds, meticulously searching for the red flags we missed. But it is here, in this dangerous landscape of resentment, that the wisdom of Stoicism becomes not just a philosophical concept, but an essential lifeline. The Stoic philosopher Seneca offers a powerful warning: to be angry is to avenge the faults of others on ourselves. And elsewhere he notes that holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. Resentment does not punish the person who wronged you, they are likely living their life, oblivious. It is a poison that you willingly drink every day, corroding your own soul, stealing your peace, and dimming your light. The true path to liberation does not come from receiving an apology or from granting forgiveness to the other person. It comes from the act of detachment that we grant to ourselves. To detach is not to forget what happened or to pretend it didn't hurt. That would be a form of self-betrayal. Detachment is the radical acceptance of reality as it is. It is the conscious choice to learn the lesson the experience was sent to teach you, and then to refuse to allow that experience to continue to occupy precious real estate in your mind and heart in the present moment. Time has revealed a truth to you. The pivotal question now is, what will you do with this truth? You can wield it as a weapon to wound yourself again and again, or you can forge it into a shield of wisdom to protect yourself in the future. The revelation, no matter how painfully it was delivered, is a gift. It is the gift of clarity. Now you know. Now you can make new choices, choices that are more deeply aligned with your well-being and your values. The process of detachment is a profound act of self-love and self-valorization. It is looking in the mirror and saying to yourself, I deserve relationships built on a foundation of honesty, integrity, and mutual respect. I deserve people in my life whose actions consistently align with their words. I hereby choose to release the physical, mental, and emotional space that this person and this experience have occupied, so that something healthier, something more beautiful, can take root and grow. It is a gradual, nonlinear process. It requires immense patience and self-compassion. But every single step taken towards detachment is a step towards true, unshakable inner freedom. Time revealed who they were. Now you must allow time to do its second job, to heal